As the world plunged into darkness, one city stood firm. This is the story of a civilization that defied time. The name Byzantine Empire is a modern invention. The Byzantines themselves called themselves Romans and saw their empire as the legitimate continuation of Rome. The term Byzantine only began to be used in the 16th century by European historians. For 1,000 years, one city shone like a beacon between East and West. Constantinople, the jewel of the Bosphorus, the beating heart of the Byzantine Empire. As the world changed, it stood firm. When Rome fell, it remained. This is the story of Rome's last light. In 330 AD, the Roman Emperor Constantine built a new capital on the ruins of Byzantium, a modest Greek colony on the banks of the Bosphorus. He called it Constantinople, the new Rome. There, between Europe and Asia, an empire was born that would endure for over 1,000 years. The Byzantine Empire was not merely a continuation of the Roman Empire, it was its metamorphosis, a Roman Empire in law, Greek in culture, Christian in soul, a mosaic of faith, power, and resistance. After the death of Theodosius I in 395 AD, the Roman Empire was divided into East and West. The West fell in 476, devoured by barbarian invasions. But the East survived and flourished. Constantinople became the center of the known world. Its walls were impenetrable. Its commerce was vast. Its faith was ardent. Byzantium rose as the guardian of civilization, while the rest of Europe sank into the Dark Ages. In 527, Justinian I ascended the throne, a man of humble origins but imperial ambition. He dreamed of restoring Rome's glory and nearly succeeded. He conquered Italy, North Africa, and part of the Iberian Peninsula. He created the Corpus Juris Civilis, the foundation of modern law. He rebuilt the city after the Nika Revolt and erected the Hagia Sophia, a cathedral that seemed to touch the sky. Alongside his wife Theodora, a former actress and ruthless advisor, Justinian transformed Byzantium into an empire of gold and marble. But the cost was high. Wars, plagues, and taxes eroded the empire's foundation. And there's a dark detail. Emperors weren't just deposed, they were mutilated, blinded, castrated, disfigured. The belief was that a mutilated emperor could not rule. Power was cruel, and the throne unstable. A shocking example. Michael III lost both hands trying to block a sword. Yes, you read that right. Emperor Constant II was killed with a bronze soap dish while bathing, a very unimperial end for a ruler. Women held more power than one might imagine, as Irene of Athens actually ruled. Irene even blinded her own son to maintain her throne and was briefly recognized as emperor by the Pope. But there's a detail few know. The empire used a secret weapon, Greek fire, an incendiary substance that could catch fire even in water. The formula was so secret that it has never been rediscovered, a mystery that remains to this day. The first major test of its effectiveness occurred during the Arab sieges of 674 to 678. The Umayyad fleet, confident of crushing the Byzantine capital, encountered an unexpected enemy. Flames that seemed alive, which not only set ships ablaze but continued to burn even over the sea. According to sources, the Arabs were terrified by this inextinguishable fire. It was enough to turn the tide. Constantinople held out, and the Arab failure delayed Islamic expansion into the heart of Eastern Europe for centuries. The same scenario repeated itself in the Second Great Arab Siege of 717 to 718. Centuries later, in the 12th century, the fascination with Greek fire still lived on. The Byzantine princess Anna Komnene, daughter of Emperor Alexios I, left one of the most detailed records of its use. In her work, the Alexiad, Anna describes the naval battle against the Pisans in 1099, when the Byzantines used fire against the enemy fleet.
When the bronze mouths spewed that liquid fire, a flash erupted as if it were a bolt of lightning sent from heaven itself. The enemy, gripped by terror, did not know whether they were fighting men or divine forces, for the flames, as if alive, pursued the ships, devouring everything they touched.
Christianity became the heart of the empire, but also its wound. Conflict arose between the defenders of sacred icons and the iconoclasts, who considered them heresy. For centuries, images were destroyed, monks persecuted, and churches divided. In 1054, the empire witnessed the Eastern Schism, the definitive separation between the Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church. Byzantium chose its own spiritual path. Faith became identity, but also isolation. Byzantine art, with its golden mosaics and sacred icons, was not merely decorative. Every color, gesture, and position had profound theological meaning. Blue represented the heavenly world, gold, divine light. It was a visual language of faith. In the 11th century, the empire asked the West for help against the Seljuk Turks. The response came in the form of crusades, but not as expected. In 1204, during the Fourth Crusade, Christian crusaders sacked Constantinople. Churches were desecrated. Ancient treasures were stolen. The empire is divided between Latin invaders. It is the greatest humiliation in Byzantine history. But even wounded, the empire resists. In 1261, the Byzantines retake Constantinople. The empire survives but never regains its former glory. In the following centuries, Byzantium shrinks. From a continental empire, it becomes a city surrounded by enemies. The advance of the Ottoman Turks is relentless. In 1453, Sultan Mehmed II besieges Constantinople with a colossal army. Emperor Constantine XI, the last of the Romans, refuses to surrender. He fights to the end. After 53 days of siege, the city falls. On the morning of May 29th, the last emperor disappeared within the walls, and with him, 1,000 years of history. Constantinople becomes Istanbul. The Byzantine Empire, after more than 1,000 years, comes to an end. After the fall of Constantinople, Moscow became known as the Third Rome. Orthodox Christianity, the architecture of Russian cathedrals, and even the use of the Cyrillic alphabet have Byzantine roots. Today, the Hagia Sophia still stands majestically. The walls of Constantinople still stand the test of time, and Byzantine history echoes in every liturgical chant, in every mosaic, in every preserved idea. The Byzantine Empire was more than an empire. It was an idea, a resistance, a light. And even when everything around it faded, it shone until the end. And so ends another dive into the fascinating history of the Byzantine Empire, a legacy that spans centuries and shaped the world as we know it today. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss the next episodes about great civilizations in history. Share with history lovers and leave in the comments what you'd like to see here. Until next time, and may the wisdom of the ancients always be with you.